Hi, everyone. It is October 30, 2020. I will be doing another update on my circumstance, addressing some of the comments, but I can't right now. So, Turkey and Greece just experienced anywhere from a 6.7 to a 7 earthquake, along with a tsunami. Well, man, all right. Well, before I begin, earthquake weapons. This is the U.S. military, an abstract from the 2025 technology military document. Earthquake weapon, ultrasonic or acoustic weapons can destroy runways, buildings, bridges. Weapon will generate a very strong acoustic wave that causes structures to resonate and thereby destroy them. It has the advantage of being a destructive force, not designed to kill people, but oops, it does. It does. It has war-making potential. All right. The earthquake weapons have been around for a very long time. This thing is an earthquake weapon, a Gwen Tower. And this happens to be the extremely low frequency transmitter site in Cutler, Maine. But when you have an array of these towers, you have a weapon of extraordinary destructive force right here. And these, the proliferation of the extremely low frequency, the Gwen Towers, they litter the entire United States, and no doubt other countries. You drive along the interstates and you will see these Gwen Towers all over. Some you see back to back, 2, 3, 4. I passed one in, I believe, Maryland, or was it the Pennsylvania border? I can't remember. It was unbelievable how many extremely low frequency transmitters were on either side of the interstate. I counted as I was driving past, so my count, I can't say was absolutely correct, but there were about, on either side total, about 40. They're used to steer weather fronts, intensify weather, they can create earthquakes. You see the wires going down to the ground? They go down to the ground in this perfect 360 around the antenna. They can emit frequencies through the ground. So when we see these flooding events, and then when the water recedes, we see the roads literally they've collapsed, or the sinkholes all over the place. It's unfortunate that now we live a time when they are using weather as a weapon, but the weapons are invisible. So we don't know if anything is natural anymore. But I will say, having followed the weather events for 10 years, looking at radar, looking at satellite, understanding the signatures that evidence the frequencies in play, I'm not even sure if any weather events now are natural. And it's very upsetting to see so many people get so destroyed. High power, extremely low frequency radiation generated by modulated high frequency heating from Doppler radar. High frequency heating of the ionosphere can cause earthquakes, cyclones, localized heating. HAARP. And these Doppler radar stations are mini HAARP. They're mini HAARP facilities. and HAARP is currently the most important facility used to generate extremely low frequency electromagnetic radiation in the ionosphere. HAARP transmitter radiates a strong beam of high frequency waves modulated at extremely low frequency. So when those Doppler radar stations or HAARP-like facilities, which are all around the world, Russia has them, China has them, Brazil has them, a whole lot of countries have them. So you never know who exactly is causing these weather events, because the weapons are invisible now. So it's, I see comments from people who say, when I'm posting videos on radar showing the signatures of the high frequencies from Doppler radar, the signatures of the extremely low frequencies, and I have people posting comments saying, it's HAARP, and you clearly don't know anything about HAARP. All right, I'm done with people. I'm so done with people. Look at this. Worldwide map of ionospheric heaters. Extremely low frequency, very low frequency, lasers and more. All over the world. All over the world. You got them around Turkey and Greece and the European countries and all over the world. Australia, US, Russia, China, South Africa. This is Doppler radar. Right here. How NexRad HAARP works. Turning natural storms into biblical floods. All right, this is just going to continue because people will not do any research to find out that what we have been saying about weather modification, man using weather as a weapon, all of the tools that they have to create fires, earthquakes, directed energy weapons. And it's not just HAARP, and it's not just Doppler radar or the extremely low frequency transmitter sites. They now have these directed energy weapons where they can shoot these lasers and create floods, shoot them into clouds, or shoot them into the ground. And what's going to happen? They'll have earthquakes. Wow, man. Well, let me just go over some of this. Here, HAARP may well be the most silent and deadly weapon of all time, primarily because it is invisible to the naked eye, and thus its existence can be denied by government and readily dismissed by media, and that statement comes from the European Parliament. A well-documented, referenced, footnotes, endnotes, the ultimate weapon of mass destruction, owning the weather for military use. Environmental warfare is defined as the intentional modification or manipulation of the natural ecology, such as climate and weather, earth systems such as the ionosphere, magnetosphere, tectonic plate system. If they can manipulate the tectonic plates, they can certainly bring about earthquakes, triggering seismic events, earthquakes, to cause intentional physical, economic, and psychosocial and physical destruction to an intended target. Our own Tom Bearden, Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army. Let me see if I can. Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Army, retired. Scalar wars, scalar technology. You know who knows about scalar technology? Donald Trump. He got his lessons about scalar technology from his uncle, John Trump. Who's John Trump? John Trump was the man who was selected to review Tesla's papers after Tesla was killed. So John gets Tesla's papers on scalar technology. And Donald said in an interview that his uncle was brilliant, and the family is brilliant, and I have those genes, I'm brilliant. Oh, of course, everybody is, everybody knows how brilliant Donald Trump is and how great he is, because he's told us over and over and over again. Donald was told by John, and I'm paraphrasing, the world will be a scary place due to the technology that we now have and are using, applying to bring about an awful lot of destruction. The brave new world of scalar electromagnetics, New science called scalar magnetics needs to become common knowledge as fast as possible for the sake of the survival of life on Earth. To that end, I have put together this small primer of Burton's ideas as a kind of beginner's guide, talking about this new phenomena. Well, I can't link to these because I'm not even sure if it's still on the internet. And this was research that I did back in 2012. But if you want to put in the title of these articles, do a search, you may come across them. Weather weapons and earthquake bombs. World leaders condemn Britain and America's secret arsenal. America's huge array of electromagnetic and acoustic weapons, earthquake weapons, which have been stranding poor dolphins and whales for decades, used to trigger the earthquake. Whatever earthquake we're talking about, because there have been so many. And others have documented the evidence that, how about Japan's earthquake? Fukushima. Yeah. Laugh at people like Chavez. Or, I can't remember his name offhand, the former leader of Iran. They all said, the leaders have come out and said, they have these weapons, they are using them. But we here won't believe them. We'll believe the propaganda that we get about them from our mainstream media. Government-sponsored technologies for weather modification. HAARP. HAARP can be used as a weather system. Washington's New World Order weapons have the ability to trigger climate change. Weather warfare, the invisible U.S. military offenses and weather weaponry. These people just don't care. If it's not on the boob tube, they just don't believe anything. Navy research paper, disrupt economies with man-made floods and droughts. Timeline, a history of weather modification, weather warfare, climate modification, geoengineering. They've been using these weapons for a very, very long time. Weather modification, the ultimate weapon. Air War College of the Canadian Air Force. And I took a quote, which is this. It's very hard to decipher, but it says, a superior piece of work. A superior piece of work. First-rate research review. Beware the U.S. military's experiments with climatic warfare. Humans have intentionally modified weather for military purposes and climate control for decades. Secret weather control devices activated in Australia by the American military. Stormy weather, the government's top secret efforts to control Mother Nature. Yeah. Well, weather modification, a long established, though secretive, reality. A new weather control board to set up shop in the United States. HAARP at work. Yes, the bizarre skies that we have, the very bizarre coloring of our skies and the clouds, and it's right smack in people's faces. Weather warfare, the invisible U.S. military offenses in weather weaponry. Mental illness of our leaders, that is an understatement. Yeah. All right. Well, secret weapon used for weather modification, electromagnetic warfare. HAARP, the military's Pandora's box. Electromagnetic manipulation of the Earth's climate. And frankly, when you know that life itself is, it's like a frequency, electromagnetic frequencies. They're in your brain, and without those, you die. Without natural electromagnetic frequencies, the Earth has its own frequency. So why is it so hard to understand that man now is using frequencies? We all know it. Wi-Fi. Hello? Wi-Fi. It connects you to the world now. Why is it so hard to understand that man inducing their own frequencies might have a destructive impact? I don't think it's so hard to understand. HAARP, weather war, and electromagnetic frequency mind control. Weather derivatives becoming hot commodities. Oh, yes. Yeah. So the gamblers in the stock market actually bet on weather. But man is controlling weather. So how many people are winning? How many people who are ignorant that man is controlling weather are losing? Weather modification, a covert weapon of mass destruction. An overview of weather modification in the U.S. of A. IPCC insider admits climate consensus claim was a lie. Okay, so what do we have here? Russia has its own HAARP. What we have here is a weapon of, this destruction that they are bringing about all over the world, between the flooding, the earthquakes, the fires. It's not going to stop unless people get to it now. Do the research, find out what we have been saying for many, many years is absolutely true. So, this is not an act of God.
The damage to the centuries-old buildings of Kos became clear as morning broke. The earthquake's fault line now snakes its way through the Greek coastal resort. It's an area popular with tourists, many of who fled their hotels as the shaking began.
Me and my husband were woken up, and we didn't for a moment know where we were and what was happening, and as we both jumped out of bed, the floor was still shaking violently to the point where I had to cling onto the wall, and then it stopped. Everybody sort of like gravitated outside into the corridors, and there was people screaming, quite a bit of commotion going on. Nobody seemed to know what was happening until somebody said, oh, it's an earthquake, and then it was just a case of everybody grabbed their families.
Visitors also spent the night outside just over the water in the Turkish holiday town of Bodrum. As the tremors started, people poured out onto the streets, leading to dozens of injuries. A small tsunami followed, making the sea rise about a metre. Boats and cars were pushed inland by the force of the strong wave.
Deniz tüm restoranlarımıza, otelin işlerinde her yere kadar girdi.
What we saw was a tsunami. Waves flooded restaurants and hotels. After it receded, we found fish in restaurants and toilets. And now the waters have ebbed at least 50 meters away from the sea.
Many are thankful that the death toll is not higher. This is a region that has a long history of deadly tremors. The 1999 Izmit earthquake left 19,000 people dead and many more homeless. So far, it's not known how much the damage will cost to repair, but experts are warning the after effects will be felt for weeks to come.
And we don't even know if the earthquakes decades ago were natural, because that's how long they have been using these weather weapons. They've only perfected it as the years continued to increase. Now, Chave Weather, if you want to stay on top of weather events, I suggest that you come on down here, hit subscribe. He's doing a great job, a great job.
Seferihisar Sığacık'ta su taştı.
You know, Greece has been flooded out. Greece was hit with directed energy weapons to cause an awful lot of fires. So many have had to deal with these horrific events over and over and over again. And it's hard to take. There's so much flooding. Vietnam, Cambodia, Indonesia, China. As I speak, it's all over. The fires. They have many, many weapons to destroy us all. Plus the fact that this is a tourist area, and does it hurt the economy? Oh yeah, it hurts the economy. It hurts it bad.
The shocks sent some onto the streets, cameras running, no idea what to expect. Turkish disaster officials say beyond those confirmed dead so far, at least 200 people have been injured.
I thought that the ground was shattered. You cannot think at that moment. All you try and do is get out. Everywhere was collapsing.
Beginning, of course, the painstaking process of listening for life, then the frantic human effort to extract those fighting for survival in the rubble. Search and rescue continues into the night at a dozen locations across Izmir, Turkey's third largest city. And phone footage from a distance captured rising columns of dust and smoke across the city centre moments after the quake. The Samos, where officials say 2 teenagers have drowned. France and Turkey may have fallen out over the issue of Islam and free speech, but the Interior Minister in Paris announced within hours of the earthquake that French assistance would be sent to Turkey immediately if requested. Tonight, seismologists are warning that the relatively shallow depth of this earthquake means powerful aftershocks are likely for days, perhaps months to come. And
Shallow. That's also a signature of a frequency-induced earthquake, not natural. And the number 10 kilometers, that is a signature of HAARP-induced. Well, it doesn't have to be HAARP anymore. 10 kilometers. This one, these are the earthquakes that caused the destruction, 10 kilometers. This one, 10 kilometers, and this one, 21 kilometers. Okay, well, a whole lot of destruction came about.
Turkish and Greek officials are warning people not to enter any buildings obviously damaged by the shocks.
An itibariyle İzmir Bornova Özkanlar'da karşı apartmanımız yıkıldı.
Gece uyuyorduk, herkes uyuyordu. Karanlıktı zaten, gece 3-3.30 sıralarıydı hatırladığım kadarıyla. Birden bir sarsıntılı uyandık. Herkes binanın çöktüğünü gördük yani. Şu anda zaten kurtarılamayanlar da var.
Ne istiyorsun? Onu. Boyunu da söylesin.
Yavaş ama dikkat edin. Yavaş ama dikkat edin. Yavaş edin yavaş.
Erdogan visiting the earthquake ruins, but when did he visit? 9 months ago, or 9 months ago? Close to 9 months ago. January 25, 2020. Now they have another one.
Οτιδήποτε για να βάλω πάνω στο τρόπο. Παιδιά, σας παρακαλώ, μια πόρτα για να κάνω. Από το πλάι, μπράβο. Ανοίξτε, παιδιά, ανοίξτε. Κάποιος άλλος, παιδιά, μέσα να περιορίσει. Έλα. Έλα, μη φοβάσαι, έλα. Dur.
Kos Adası'ndayız. Depremin merkez üssü, gördüğümüz gibi tarihi camimiz, yıkılmış minaresi ve duvarları da yıkılmış, gördüğümüz gibi Kos'tayız.
Evet, elektrikler falan kesildi. Şu anda öğrenmeye çalışıyoruz. Herkes bir yerden bir yere koşturuyor. Nüfus çok kalabalık çünkü.
Death toll now, the latest I heard, was 12 in Turkey, 2 in Greece, 400 injured in Turkey, and hundreds are injured in Greece. I don't know what to say anymore. I am... Oh, 14 dead now. 14 dead. 14. That could be the total between the two, Greece and Turkey. That's all I have.